think you're the only one that has a build video on the Poseidon right now, aren't you?
Unless Chuck did one. I know he did a
Chuck,
bunch of test videos, but
Chuck ain't doing nothing. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the show. Jim and I were just chatting about the Poseidon antenna. Jim did a video on how to build it. And I think, Jim, you had like 5,000 views on that thing already?
a ton. I don't know. A lot.
Yeah.
I made my nut for YouTube this month. I can get some new ports and move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got smoke money out of it. Because,
Right.
big
And
time
then
YouTubers like us, we can afford cigarettes.
$1.50 a video. That's all they pay us.
Right.
So, 7 more videos, you can get a pack of cigarettes.
I am loving the Poseidon. I mean, that it is an easy build, super easy build. I had a couple of screw ups in mind. One was of course I'm filming this while I'm building it, right? And I missed part of Chuck's instructions that said
You only get one take.
right, stick the wire through the tab. I missed that part. And then in my getting the toroid mounted on the frame, I crossed the wires, crossed the streams. So when I actually got everything wired up, it was not exactly right. Found the errors, and went back and got that included in the video too.
But that's ham radio, man. That's doing it right.
Let he
So
who is without mistake wrap his first toroid. That's what I say.
right. So Chris is asking the serious questions already. What data are you going to try to send? I don't actually even know. I've never done this before. So in true Nuggets fashion, we're going to open the box together. We're going to look in the box together. There's the box. I've already, opened it so I don't cut myself on camera. You know how bad that's going to be. And see what we have. I believe there's supposed to be some sensors in here, a moisture sensor, a light sensor, and a humidity sensor, and a couple of modules and a couple of pi hats. So we gotta figure it all out.
Are we going to get
So
to compile things? I want to compile stuff.
I'm not 100% sure. Possibly, I would assume this speaks some type of like Arduino style data stuff. Oh, Jim, we're gonna have to get you to build a toroid on Nuggets. I can see this now.
The toroid build was fine. It was emplacing said toroid where I crossed the streams.
Right.
Actually, the toroid build was pretty easy. Now you guys remember on the Aries build, Charles sent me a pre-wrapped toroid, so I didn't have to fool with that.
So Jim has some links in case we get lost and do need to look at documentation. And when Elecrow sent this out, Elecrow has sent all this gear in. That's why they have their fancy tape all over the box. I said, please send me 2 of everything so that I could actually like make both ends of the communication. Because right now I'm in Hulbert, Oklahoma, and the chances of finding somebody with a LoRa device within line of sight of me is kind of impossible. So
Dan has been a member for 12 months, and he's apparently a fan of the world's greatest children's author, Dr. Seuss. Thank you, Dan.
I might be surprised that there's somebody in Oklahoma on LoRa. I don't know. All right, so that's the box. It's full of all kinds of goodies. I'm going to get the box itself out of the way and start looking at these goodies and see what we have in here. I have a box, and let's switch up that camera angle so that it
Thank you, Don.
This one first, and then we do option 4. And then now we can see what's in here. So this looks like cables and antennas and stuff, and cables and antennas and stuff. So I think this is what they call the gateway board. And I'm assuming that because it's got, well, number 1, it says node board on it. And number 2, it has a whole bunch of ports on it. And it's not dark enough in here to get good lighting. So we're gonna have to kind of work with what we got right now. But that is what the node board looks like, and I guess you plug in up to 6 nodes.
Okay.
And on the back it has
an ESP?
What looks like a ESP32 chip. It says AI Thinker. So that is your radio on a chip.
Okay.
As well as, I guess, the CPU and everything else, but could also be one of these.
So
you've
got 2 connectors on that side, and how many on the back? 6?
Yeah, so there's 2 there, and they're a different type than those, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a different
Oh
type.
yeah, they are. Hmm.
And then there's 6 there. But this chip here's got a Raspberry Pi logo on it. It's hard to see on camera, but I'm guessing that's going to be a Pico, like a 20, what is that, a 2040 or something? And then there's buttons. So I got 3 buttons
I bet
and a
one's a
couple of,
reset or a firmware boot kind of
yeah.
thing.
And then
Raphael
there's
said
a,
there is a thing network. It's a public LoRa sense. Is it LoRa or LoRa?
I say Laura. Hello,
I say
Ray,
LoRa.
Laura. Now we're getting a copyright strike on the
Wasn't
video.
that a
There goes
song?
my
I think.
$1.72. Yeah.
Right. No
Um,
coffee for you.
yeah, there's a U.FL connector there. I think that's what that is. And that would be for the antenna war. And there's your antenna. And this looks like the regular antennas that they're sending with the Meshtastic kits too.
Now these operate what on 900 something, 915?
Yeah, this one is 915, which is an unlicensed band in the US. So you can do this if you're not a ham. But if you are a ham, hams have 900 megahertz privileges also. I said it before you did, Don.
James Whited has been a member for 2 months, and he got some new rigs today.
Oh,
A
sweet.
Kenwood TS680, a 711A, and so is it you're a Kenwood collector, James? Are you
Well,
fixing
he is now.
these?
Yeah.
I reckon I'm impressed. I got a new rig today. I have a
You
Yaesu
did too?
FTD. I have a Yaesu FT 1200 sitting in the box yet. Hadn't even
Oh,
opened it yet.
sweet. That comes
Because
from
I can't.
our friend Shane, Adventures in
From
Blind Videography.
Shane and I worked a deal. Deals were struck, and Shane has moved or is in the process of moving to Arkansas. So he should have his piece of the trade waiting on him when he arrives in Arkansas. I love new radios, and I got a VX2 coming tomorrow. I was hoping to pimp it off tonight, but it'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, and so as requested, there are 2 of these. So whatever these things do with their antennas, I should be able to get them to talk to each other
Okay.
eventually. And there are links in the description down below. I don't know how far we're going to get with this. So, you know, if you want to play
Ken
along next
Lewis
week, get them ordered.
has gotten his extra ticket.
Holy moly, Ken. 50 out of 50 on your extra? That's awesome, dude.
That's better
Congrats.
than me. I got a 49 or a 48.
On the
48.
second time you took it.
Shut up.
Well, you
You know
made
what
it
they call
public
the
that you didn't pass the first time.
you know what the guy who passes last in med school is called?
Doctor.
Doctor. That's
Yep.
right.
So
Ken,
this,
outstanding. Can we play some tunes for Ken?
do it.
Ken got
He
a
got the
standing O.
he got the lights on standing O.
That's right.
So this is the Crowtail Light Sensor 2.0. So on here is a little tiny chip. Focus, focus, a little tiny chip. And this part here is the light sensor. And then this connector here looks like one of
So
those connectors there.
yeah, so you should have interface cables apparently. That would be that little guy right
So
there.
there's that cable and that cable plug into each other. So now I have a light sensor. Like we're making progress already. So what I should be able to do, again, I have 2 of these, is I should be able to get one to be in the dark, telling it that it's in the dark, and one to be in the light, telling it that it's in the light. So just for
Doc
grins, I'm going to
Brad
plug
has dropped
these.
a super chat on us. Greetings, boys. Is it not that
Is it not
is,
true?
is it not true that as hams we can do both LoRa both on 915 and for hams 433? I believe that is correct.
Yeah, so I was looking at this a little earlier. I mean, obviously, 433 is another unlicensed frequency, but I think it falls inside of 70 centimeter ham bands, and then 915 is an unlicensed frequency that falls inside of the 900 megahertz ham band, I believe. Don't quote me on that without looking at a band plan, because I
I
don't
be-
use either of those two often enough. But in the US, 915 is the popular one for Meshtastic. So if you're buying one and you have the choice, I would say go with the 915 because there's going to be more traffic. But, that's my guess.
Oh, and Doc, thank you for the super chat.
So I just saw these. Well, I just paid attention that these were here, and I would need to go out into my truck and dig out my soldering gear in order to put those things together. So that's going to be another limiting factor, but we'll get somewhere. Let's see. Next, next little baggie. I feel like when I'm all these bags all done, I can start another kind of business. We'll just let that joke sink in a little.
I got it. I didn't need you to explain it to me. I've watched The Wire multiple times.
Oh yeah, those are evidence bags. That's what that is.
That's exactly right. Because
So
that's what
this
the
is
police
the
will put them in if they catch you with them.
right.
In evidence.
This is the Crowtail Capacitive Soil Moisture Sensor. So this is actually pretty slick. It looks like you could really seriously hurt somebody and you would not be able to take this thing on an airplane. But it's a Crowtail Capacitive Moisture Sensor. So you shove this into the dirt in your plant, and then now we're getting somewhere because now I can operate my greenhouse, which would give me something to put in those bags. Grapes or something, obviously, is what I'm
Right.
talking about.
Totally.
Um, so I know how much moisture there is in my soil, and I know whether the sun is shining or not, and then I can communicate that to the other device, and the two plants can talk to each other. So
You must be talking about Huntsville. I can't wait until August when I get there and I get to see the new
nice.
location.
Did
Because
they
I was
have any of
kind of
this?
underwhelmed with the old one.
Yeah, it was interesting. They were more of a mail order shop, and then they had a bunch of PC stuff there and like two
Yeah.
rows of ham gear. So
Yeah.
two of these. When you stopped into Gigaparts, did you see any LoRa stuff while you were there?
I don't remember seeing any, but I wasn't specifically looking for it at that time. So I don't know. I remember seeing PCs, FlashForge, 3D printers, meh.
Ooh,
They probably had more computer stuff and 3D printer stuff than they had ham stuff. I mean, there's like one wall of rigs, right? And maybe one shelf of rigs, the mobiles, and then one or two aisles of coax connectors, random dinguses. Not as much gear as I expected to see.
Barry, yes, I am. Hulbert, Oklahoma. Because that's what they tell me.
Don said he hasn't seen any LoRa stuff in Micro Center.
Okay. So they got some stickers in here, and I'm not sure what a lot of this stuff is. There's a little race car kit, video game kit. That looks like what we're working on right there. 3D printer, a screen that's doing skateboarding. They have a Raspberry Pi laptop kit, and then this says 202 2092 301. Happy New Year, Elecrow, and 2024 Elecrow. So some stickers. We all love stickers. Happy 2024. Wishing you a happy new year. GameCube controller motherboard. Cool. Starter kit. ESP32 terminal. Nice. All right, another bag full of goodies.
I believe here we're going to have to read the instructions.
Well, I mean, so far I just have a bunch of hardware that doesn't
Right.
yet do anything. So I don't
Random
know. I mean,
dinguses.
it all does stuff, but what stuff does, I don't know. This one here says it is the temperature and humidity sensor. So we're actually like, I guess we're building a greenhouse, Jim.
Yeah, that's for
We're
ambient.
we're building the next Green Cube satellite system.
This is for your oregano growing.
Right. My herb.
Oh, Don said this is now breaking ham bad.
Yeah. Herbs are
Breaking ham.
legal in herbs are legal in Oklahoma.
They are not legal in Alabama except for
And
medicinal purposes.
that's Doc Brad, not Don, by the way.
Well, I said Doc. Didn't I?
We'll,
I didn't
we'll go to
say
the
Don.
instant replay. I think you have
I said
Don
Doc.
like getting in your head.
Don, get out of my head. Doc, thank you for the
Thank you, Doc.
super chat, my friend. Appreciate it.
So Doc Brad is working on M17 modules, and we're working on getting a show together to have him on and play with that in the future. There's a good LoRa kit on Rack, has outdoor housing with solar and antenna. Total kit about
Nightcry, is that
$89. Nice.
Rakuten that used to be buy.com? Is that what you're talking about when you say rack? I assume that is. I hadn't been to that website since like 1999 or 2000. I don't know. I don't know what that site is.
So this, I'm basically plugging all these things in, so if I, like mess something up on the desk, it doesn't all crash into the ground in a million pieces. And I just actually plugged both humidity sensors into the same board, so that's not going to work at all. And these connectors are
Rack
strong.
Wireless is what Nightcry said. So let me see if I can find them. Well, you're plugging dinguses in.
I don't know. I'm actually trying to unplug them now. This might be too smart for me.
I'm going to share out this screen while you're doing that.
Okay.
Let's see. This is what Nightcry is talking about, Rack Wireless. And he said they have a LoRa kit in here. Oh, Lord, that's a lot of things to look at. Sticker tracker. I wonder if those stickers are RFID stickers, Steve.
These stickers from Elecrow?
Mm-hmm.
They don't appear to be. Yeah, I don't see any swirly ring stuff in the light.
Tap your phone on it, see if the NFC picks up. But I guess if you don't see it, it's probably not there.
I have never NFC'd on my phone.
It may not be turned on. I don't know if it is by default or not on Androids. Lord, this is a black hole of more money I'm going to spend on crap I don't need, but it'll be cool.
Yeah, so we also have LoRa kits linked in the description down below from our show here. Let's switch back over to put it on view number 4, Jim.
1, 2, 3, 4. That one?
Not tab number 4. StreamYard view number 4.
Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There we go. This is the gateway module, 915 megahertz SPI. We've graduated from little baggies to little boxies. What's little baggies in them? Oh, this is the thing that's in the thumbnail. So I think it was Raphael that was telling us all about what this stuff is. And this looks like a PCIe board. Ugh.
That's your gateway module, LoRa to WAN. Oh, so yeah, gateway. That probably connects your LoRa network to Wi-Fi.
So it's got a antenna connector there and a PCI connector there.
Yep.
And then
I would guess the antenna connectors for the LoRa side, and then that goes in your computer. I'm guessing. I have no idea, but it says gateway and it says LoRa WAN, so that's what my guess is.
yeah, so you can use this stuff obviously like a network of some kind. So what this would do, I would assume, is I can plug this in, and we're assuming because we haven't gotten that far yet. This has a USB-C connector on it, and it probably is already programmed. So I just apply power via USB-C and have the antenna in, and all of a sudden this thing is already receiving on its receive
Boom.
antenna.
Yep.
Ta-da! That's a wild assumption. We'll see if we prove that out to be correct later on in the show.
I see the truth of it. I see the truth of it.
So there's that one. And these things are super light. This would be great for like a balloon tracking kit. And obviously, so being 900 megahertz, it's going to be line of sight, and it's going to be low power, and it's supposed to be extremely long range at low power by design, as opposed to like your HT. So your typical, you start running into curvature of the Earth stuff. So I would expect straight line of sight, unobstructed view. You could probably get 30 miles until you reach curvature of the Earth. But imagine sticking this thing. This might be like a gram or two. It's stupid light. Um,
And
onto
he
a
knows what
a
a gram
balloon or
feels
something.
like.
Well, I mean, I've got all these bags, so
Right.
I know what. Yeah, I know what 10 feels like. I know what a dime feels like. So there's two of those. Aren't they pretty? Now, if I had some way of hooking those up, I'm foreshadowing here. If the
So I
boxes
didn't
are
know
starting
you
to get,
needed a. So we can't hook those to a Pi.
well, we're foreshadowing here, Jim, because
Oh
there's the
snap!
pie hat, there's the
There we go.
standoffs, and
Pi's your
that
uncle.
that's got a little mini piece of coax in there. I'm going to lose that. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Nightcry
Oh,
said you can get about 100 yards obstructed.
obstructed. Nice.
Obstructed. Yeah, trees are full of water, and radio and water hate each other.
Nice. Local net at 7 on what day, Barry? Barry's 8 miles west of me.
And Ron
All
is here
right.
representing Ape, denying the curve of the Earth.
Right. Fan of Pantera. Yes, I am. Although I don't. How did I make that reference? Where did we go? So there's your hat for your Raspberry Pi with a cooling fan
Okay.
and a battery and another chip there and a USB-C connector. This is the LR1302 LoRa WAN hat for RPi version 1.0, and it's got two SMA connectors on it and a UFL. Yeah, after all this time of saying UFL, I bet I'm wrong. That's probably like an M
I thought it
something
was an
connector.
MCX.
Yeah, I don't know,
There's two
but I'm
of
probably
them that
saying it
look
wrong.
very close to each other. One's an MCX and one is something else. And you may be right. I don't remember what the other one is. And they look
So
pretty darn similar.
bring up the website for this LR1302 LoRa WAN hat. Oh, I don't even have screwdrivers handy.
There you go.
So does it say what kind of connectors they are?
Let's see if I can embiggen this a little bit too. Let's see.
You got FL. All right.
Yeah, UFL. You're correct.
I'm vindicated.
I didn't say you were wrong. I don't know. So that little device is about $23 for the gateway
Oh,
module, and then you can select your frequency,
Rob, I was actually
868 or
talking about
915.
both. The Di Tommaso Pantera is a fantastic car. Kind of kind of ugly in its natural form. Yeah, so this is an SMA. Mike's got it. Mike, you're not too OM for SMA. I caught that. Act like you don't know anything. I know you know everything. I know you're smart.
That connects
Oh,
the
look.
SX1302 LoRa WAN gateway module to a Pi. It integrates a GPS module and a clock. That's awesome. Automatically configures the standard 52-pin Goldfinger to the Raspberry GPIO.
Goldfinger.
Developer, blah, blah, blah.
Pantera the Derpy Unicorn.
By using that hat and the 1302 gateway module, users can build a complete and compact LoRaWAN wireless communication gateway. And then they show a sample network topo here, which is pretty much answers all our questions.
It looks like some of the stuff that we've got here in our kit.
Yep. So I would assume that has two antennas because it's a transmit receive setup on that dingus.
On the purple board that I'm looking at, one is a GPS antenna. We haven't gotten to that yet. And the other one is a LoRa antenna. And since this is a receiver, it's got a big one.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Rob has gifted 5 memberships. If you got one, sound off in the chat. I'm not watching the YouTube chat. I'm kind of limited on space here.
Let's see.
Um,
Lee McSee got a membership.
ooh,
Geekiest Guy got a membership. Digital Rancher gifted one to himself because he's selfish. And Nightcry got one. Why would it gift it to yourself?
because he didn't
But
have one here.
I guess. But Rob, whatever. Thank you, Rob. That was awesome. Even if you did gift yourself,
No, it works fine.
it's cool.
Rob's
We're
always
good.
deserving of a gift. He's an
We're
awesome
good.
guy.
We're good with it. And Rob is actually, yes, Rob is a super nice guy. He's
Check out
taller than
Digital
T.O.
Rancher on YouTube. He is taller than me. Check him out
Yeah.
on YouTube. Check out his YouTube channel. So now switch back to the other view of the overhead.
Remove. And
I don't like that you can't do
one.
this stuff backstage, but then there is the GPS antenna with an SMA connector on it, and the 900 megahertz antenna with an SMA connector, and that goes into the GPS hole. And then this holds the gateway module, which is this thing here, which goes in to the PCIe connector.
I don't think that's a PCIe connector, buddy. I
You
think
don't?
that's like an M.2 connector.
M.2 connector, you're correct. Which I thought was just a different shape for PCIe. Raphael knows, he'll tell us.
Don
So there
said
you
John
go.
Hummel Newell got one too.
Oh, awesome.
Yep, there it was. It scrolled off. Awesome. So all you guys that got memberships, make sure you let us know in Discord so we can add you to the secret members only club. It's like the champagne room, except you don't need shots or anything after you visited it.
Right. We have paramedics on staff to give you those shots, actually.
Right.
Yeah, Raphael got me. He's PCIe is M2 with different keying. And keying, for those of you who have never seen a computer before, is that little gap right there in the connector so that you can't put it in backwards and blow things up. And that key moves around inside of these connectors depending on what type it is. So like an A key or a B key,
I think there's several of them.
and there's like an A and B. So there's
Yeah.
one where you'll have 2 notches for that setup. But anyway, that's what that's all about.
Several of the guys know that.
Awesome.
I know it's a kind of thing. I don't remember which is which.
And then there is an entirely second set of that. It's awesome that they were able to send in 2, because like I said, I wasn't sure.
What? I think we need to kick the tire and light the fire here, son.
And this is an entirely different thing that they didn't send, but I shoved it in that box because I'm on limited space. So this is all of this stuff. So now the question is, I've got to run out to the truck and get some screwdrivers. And what else? I guess we need a Raspberry Pi.
Do we need a soldering iron?
I don't know. I don't think so. Yes, these
Don't
things
you
have
have a
headers.
battery one? Okay.
I do, but that's also in the car. So what Jim's asking about is the pin headers for this board here, and I guess we can take a look at some documentation. I know that's not usually allowed on this show, but I don't think we need that for this. I think if I plug this in to USB-C and turn it on, it will start broadcasting what these sensors are sensing, which should
I think you're correct. I would guess.
no soil moisture. It should tell me that it's about 32% humidity and the lights are on.
Did you get an air quality sensor as well?
I did not. And then what else do we need to do?
Dave wants to know when the new truck is going to debut on your other channel.
So I've got 2 videos in the queue for this. For tomorrow is one, and then the week after is the next one, and then finally I should be able to have that video edited. I've got some of it filmed. I need to film the rest of it and get it all edited. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera. So Jim, if you want to look at some websites and maybe learn something with these folks while I'm gathering parts, Um,
I'm on it.
I'll be right back.
We're gonna look at all the dinguses up close because hams love dinguses. All right, let me change the view to
By the way, I can still
that.
hear you, so don't think you're getting away with
Right,
anything.
right. So that's the module, and these prices are not very expensive on that. That's the LoRa gateway module. And this is the Elecrow.com site, which is the people who sent this stuff to Steve, is Elecrow.com. So there's a Pi hat. I don't know how you'd get a Pi hat without a Pi hat, but and then it will tell you the specs on it and supports multiple channels and the different channels and how awesome that is. This is the 1302. We already looked at that. This guy is the node board with controller for long range communication. So one of you guys knows, can you get longer range than 100 yards with this thing? Well, this is the board Steve was just showing too. Interesting. So this uses the 2040, the one we just looked at. And node module. I mean, I get the sensors and everything. I'm not sure about the gateway versus the node. There's the moisture sensor. There is the temp and humidity sensor. And this looks exactly like the one for Raspberry Pis, the DHT11, I think is what that one's called. And that's the same basic design other than it's got this pin header on it instead of the little tabs or whatever's on the other one.
Yeah, I'm back.
Here's a light sensor. Well, I was kind of going through all these little dinguses. Well, you didn't get this one, the light. Oh, yeah, you did. You got the light sensor.
Yeah, I got that one. Yep.
So now this is the module you plugged in.
Yep.
The gateway module. And then you plug that into that guy.
I plugged it into the hat.
Okay, I don't have a link for the hat on here. So let me see if I can find that.
So that is it was the page you had up before, LR1302 LoRaWAN hat.
Okay.
My audio is
yep, there it is. I missed that one.
down.
Okay.
Why is my audio down? Was it in the description? My audio is now blasting.
You sound the same to me. And now Stephen Cristofero just said your audio is good. You haven't changed to me. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, the LoRaWAN hat is in the description.
Yep.
Okay,
all these pages I'm showing you are the links that Steve put in the description below. So cool.
So let's choose device, Pi 4, choose OS.
Right, Jason, if you have a lot of botanical interest, this is the way to take care of your crops. I mean, plants.
Your herbs. Make
Your
yourself an
oregano
herb
farm.
garden, right?
Your oregano farm, that's right.
I don't like that SD cards are so small that you can't write on them what they are. I think this is the DigiPi SD card. So I'm using a different one instead of this one.
Hey, Tim, since you're posting links and doing a fabulous job, can you post Digital Rancher's channel in there too, buddy? And your own. Tim has a channel as well, Grayman Potah.
Patah.
Patah. And then Digital Rancher is called Digital Rancher, and that's Rob. Already did. Okay, awesome.
All right, excellent. So that SD card is burning for Raspberry Pi OS, and I have a Pi 4 here that we can do.
The reference Pi. But Steve, back in the day, how many CDs did you have with handwritten labels on them, if they were
Oh, all
labeled
of
at
them,
all?
all of them,
If they
hundreds.
were labeled at all. Did you ever
Yeah.
try to print labels for stuff?
No, because
I did
you
one
you
time, I
put them
think, and then
on
I
with a
got,
little bubble and they start wobbling and then they don't go above 4x and
yep,
it's like, not
yep.
doing that anymore.
Sharpie is your friend.
All right, so this is the CanaKit case, and I think I
Yep.
got this as a complete CanaKit setup. It's not a bad case, but I'll have some videos on some cases on my channel here soon because I've got the new
Argon.
Argon case, and I like the Argon cases, but I have the Argon Neo case for the Pi 5 because they hadn't made the Argon 1, the doorstop wedge case. They hadn't made that yet. I'm like, I need a case because I'm not going to run this thing naked. And then after I bought it, they showed up. Now they make the Argon 1 for the Pi 5, and that's a fantastic case.
Yeah,
So,
that's what's on my 4s is the Argon 1s.
and this is my Kyrie's screwdriver set.
Now that is like a teeny. That's a
Yeah,
different set than the one.
I like it because it's small and comprehensive.
But now that's not electric. But I kind of
No,
like that. It's a little smaller than that pouch one. It's about half the size of that pouch one.
yeah, the electric one has a lot of bits in it, but I don't know. I kind of didn't like the electric one.
The torque on the
Personal preference
electric one
thing.
is kind of lame. It really is lame. It works fine and charges up and everything, but I think it has, if I remember right, it has spudgers and a few other and tweezers and an
Yeah,
X-Acto knife and some other precision tools for tearing up phones and stuff like that.
turn up. And this thing has a lot of that stuff too, just not as much. And I wound up giving that kit away on Nugget Show a while back, so hamming it forward, as it were.
So somebody
That
dropped
is
a comment to me the other
not the right
day, and
tool.
I'd have to go find the comment and reread it because it was kind of long and involved. That video I did last week on the Pico APRS, and
Yeah,
this guy was complaining about the cost of the Pico.
it's expensive.
I'm not. I never said it wasn't. I just said
Yeah.
it's cool, and I bought it, and I like it. But he was talking about you could do a
Oh,
bunch of the kind of things that the Pico does. And I want to say he was talking about LoRa. I'd have to go dig up the comment and read it again.
yeah. So there's this
Uh,
thing on LoRa called Meshtastic that they were talking about in the chat
yes.
in the first place.
Yep.
Um, and Meshtastic is very much like APRS, but not, um, because it's not APRS. And since it runs on different frequencies and whatnot, and it's also unlicensed, it's got a lot of adoption. I think the ham license is probably keeping a lot of people from adopting ham radio. So
Mhm.
one of the things I would highly, highly, highly suggest with any of these little devices like this is never run them without an antenna. The minute you turn it on, you have no idea whether it's transmitting or not. It could be sending out some kind of beacon. It could have some code already installed on it that's doing something. This device here particularly, probably not, but the Meshtastic devices for sure, when you turn them
Yeah.
on, are doing their thing already.
Very good
Um,
safety tip.
yeah. So do me a favor, Jim. Look in the hat and the gateway module setup. I believe this little coax jumper is to get from the gateway module board onto the Pi hat board so that I can use the bigger antenna. I want to make sure before I hook stuff up weird.
All right. Let's.
Chuck, yes, it does work.
Is that our Chuck? Hey, Chuck.
Yes. He wanted to know if it works or not. And yes,
He's
it
our
does.
Chuck.
There
So
is
you're talking.
there's a hardware store in Northwest Wisconsin called Your Chuck. And I think that's
Which
just their
you're
last
talking about the
name.
1302 board, or this
Yeah,
guy? This.
so no, that board there, and then
Yep.
the LoRaWAN gateway, which is the other 1302 link that goes on top of that thing. Dan in San Diego is telling me I'm right. And Ron, G4LMN, who was complaining he was 2OM the other night, is now telling me that Meshtastic devices don't communicate until you program them.
Yes,
Ah,
that
there it
is
is.
correct.
It is
There it is
plugged
right
in.
there.
All right. And I don't know that I have the right ocular implants to make these connections. There's
Mm.
one. I heard that positive snap. All right, so I'm doing two here.
I'm always afraid I'm going to break those kind of connectors when I'm connecting them up.
Yeah. All right, so that is plugged in, and I screwed down the module on top, and then it's already got the header thing installed, and there are standoffs and screws, so we're going to do the standoff and screw thing also. And then this thing here has a let's magnetize it section in it, and that works out very well. And it
Beautiful.
has a let's not magnetize it section, and that doesn't seem to work as well.
You didn't do it the right way.
But it might also
Frank
be
Frank went and looked up my comment
nope.
on the APRS video because, Frank, I knew somebody would. While a great idea, that's about 4 times the price should be for no antenna, no extra battery, and not waterproof. Listen, you ain't carrying that little tiny thing where it needs to be waterproof. It's going to be in your pocket anyway, or on a belt clip at the very least. Look at the
I would
price of Meshtastic WizBlock devices, less than 50 with assembly required. And I want to look at them just because I thought it was an interesting comment, but I would also say it's a matter of functionality. Just because you can do something cheaper doesn't necessarily make it better.
right.
And I guess I'm kind of defending the Pico APRS because I bought it, but it does a
Confirmation
whole lot of,
bias.
yeah, I do. But it does a whole lot of stuff in one package with a beautiful UI that actually works. If you want to be all Dr. Franken nerd and build you a Meshtastic WishBlock APRS dingleberry that works 30 to 40 feet away, rock on.
Chuck broke in here. Chuck's going to
Chuck,
school
you
us
need to
all.
smile. Chuck, are you all right?
I was turning. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I
I
was
thought
turning
he was
something
having.
off. I've been building antennas, man, all day. Well, that
Nice.
and doing a video.
Oh, and Doc
So
makes a good point. Pico does make a APRS V4 LoRa too. That's right. I forgot about that, Doc. That's not the one I have, but yep, they do it.
So I was just checking back in. Are you guys? You're not done building it yet, though, right?
No, he's putting the
nah.
parts together, and then we gotta
Okay.
install it on the Pi.
I looked into these, and it sounds promising, but I think people over exaggerate what you can do with them. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is just radio communications 101, and it's in the unlicensed portions. So a lot
Right.
of people, it's accessible,
Right.
where ham radio is lesser accessible.
Chuck, what I hear you saying is this is a solution in search of a problem.
Isn't that
I
everything,
just
though?
don't. I just wondered how much distance people they bill it like it's you're going to be able to send text messages and all this stuff, and I just don't think it's going to be that far.
So for
Mm-hmm.
the Meshtastic stuff, I mean, the reason why it's called Meshtastic is because it's a mesh. So, like, I can
Right.
send it to Jim, who can then relay it to you, and I don't have to be able to see you directly.
Right.
And the network grows. The more of those devices get out, the more the network grows. Like, if you have one in your keychain that's battery operated, and you're walking around town, you might pick up and transmit a message for somebody else. So I put all
Right.
the feet on, all the standoffs on.
Cooley, I would certainly imagine they're going to be in Dayton.
Who's
I
that?
don't know. He's asking him, I
Elecrow?
assume about Pico or else these guys, probably Elecrow. There will be mesh stuff at Dayton.
Oh,
That is a fact.
well, don't you
Sean,
stink.
Fichera, Sean, if I butchered your last name, I'm sorry. Said he bought the LilyGo TTWR Plus ESP32-S3 walkie-talkie development board.
Oh, I want one of
And
those.
well, I just pulled up the LilyGo page. I've got it actually shared if we want to put it up. And it can be flashed as an APRS iGate digipeater and beacon. And
So
since
in
I
true
got
Nuggets
that
fashion, I
Pico
screwed
thing,
up.
I've gotten all excited about APRS.
So we're going to have a Pico APRS show where Jim plays with APRS stuff.
I think we need to get this LilyGo thing.
Yeah, that's on the list of things to get.
Thanks, Frank. I was probably close to the microphone. Sorry. Is that better, Frank? I don't
So
want
they've
to
got
blow your
something
ears
here
out.
called a T-Echo Mesh-tastic. And I see a lot of
Fantastic.
parts.
I saw a face on that and I thought, is this one of those like Tamagotchi toys that also does mesh? Like it smiles when it's in range and frowns when it hasn't talked to anybody in a while.
Yeah, see, these look like parts to build something, and I don't see any
So how
develop.
many can mesh together? Because meshing usually has a limit, right?
I
Or
I
do
have
these not have
no
a limit?
idea.
It's going to be
I
based on the network addressing scheme they use, Chuck.
Okay.
So with an IPv4 and a Class C network, you're looking at 254 devices,
5, yeah,
54,
right.
because you got to have
Because
your
we
router
don't
and
we
your
don't count at
network.
zero.
Right.
Okay.
This network and all networks, yeah.
But
Because I
So
know
if
my
they're using something like IPv6 or their own kind of proprietary addressing scheme, and I have no idea what they use, it could be unlimited. So I don't know.
okay. Because I have the same thing. The headsets for my helmets for the motorcycles have a meshing, but you're allowed like 15. I think is all you can supposedly. I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
It's a little
it just
different,
depends
probably.
on how they implement it, dude.
well, that T embed looks pretty cool too. All this stuff looks like so much fun.
But it's
I'm
supposed to do
trying to
the
find.
same thing. It's supposed to push your signal. You know, if you can hit the third guy and you can't hit the first guy, then the third guys will carry you up to the first guy, maybe.
Yeah, so Stephen's saying there's no limit to the number of nodes, but there's a limit to the number of jumps, and that's kind of the same way APRS is. So
Yep.
what it really comes down to is the call sign and the station ID that you give your node, and you just
Hmm.
beacon your call sign. Like it's radio, it's RF, so they don't like establish a network connection. So the mistake that I made when I was doing this is I put everything together first, and the LoRaWAN has a fan on it, which is fantastic. Um, but I already have heat sinks on my Pi, so these two were clearance interfering each other, and I couldn't get the
Clearance
board to seat.
interference, Clarence.
Yeah, so I had to disassemble, and now I need to reassemble some stuff to continue
No
assembly.
disassemble. No disassemble.
Right, disassemble bad.
So Hamilton Hertz was trying to get me on 10 meter today. I was playing with a new antenna today, and I don't know. 10 was like not very good, and then all of a sudden it seemed to be better. But I did answer everybody that contacted. Got my wire from my radio down in my foot down here. Maybe I'll fire that up. I can do that while we're doing this.
Steven is saying he helped a friend put up a helium miner
Oh,
before he got
nice.
into Mesh-tastic. And now he has 9 different Mesh-tastic
Right.
devices. It's fun, but you
So,
don't get much out of it without a community of people using them, which is
yeah, Steven, it sounds like you have 8 you need to give away.
right.
Well, I had a friend of mine that I talked to down the LA San Diego area wanted me to print a couple boxes for these things, and the one he was going to do. And he was doing whichever one it was Josh's video that he got it off of.
Random
But the
wire,
box design
nice.
was not that good.
Dan said it's
Dave,
based on MAC address. So that's a fairly large limit based on their OUI or OUIs that they have assigned. I'm going to have to look up that Lily Power stuff and see what kind of
just because
dingus
they're too
they've got.
small. So our friend Bill from Ham Radio Tectonics has that Lily Power T-TWR, LilyGo T-TWR thing.
Yeah. I thought he
Yeah,
did. I
looks
thought I
good.
remembered him mention that at one point.
And Matt from Tech Minds did a video on it, which is how I initially heard about it.
G4LMN Ron. Good evening, Ron. said you can define how many hops in firmware. The default is 3 hops. So yeah, you nailed that, T.O. That's very similar to APRS.
I hear a
And
tuner.
Ken's saying it depends on the memory on the device because the address table is limited.
You did.
So I have a screw I can't screw in.
I hate it when I
Sounds
don't
like
get
you're
to
screwed.
screw in a screw.
Put that back in the bag. Oh, parts. Put that in the bag. Oh, parts. Put those in the bag. Oh,
Chuck
parts.
Stevens saying there's no limit on nodes, but there's a limit on the number of jumps.
Yeah, TL already brought that one up.
Yeah. I'm just catching up comments
You're
here,
late.
buddy.
You're late, man.
Listen, you showed up
just don't
to the
let it
show
happen
late
again.
there, OM.
He wasn't even invited. What are you talking about showing up late?
I was here.
I thought you invited him. I didn't want to say nothing.
Oops. Hang on,
No,
I
I
gotta
mean-
make a contact.
It's
It's
kind of
always
like
an
that
open
weird
invite for
uncle at the
Chuck.
Thanksgiving table. Oh, look at it. He just muted us so he could play with the radio.
I didn't mute you.
That was a hint.
I think that's a bad stud. I got a bad stud.
WD0EDO. First contact of tonight.
So Steven apparently has played a lot with this stuff. He's saying
Sounds like it.
with Meshtastic, there's a ham mode and a ham frequency mode. 433 meg nodes are generally used by hams, but 915 meg nodes in ham mode give you more power and range while losing encryption.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Oh, there we go.
One screw that works.
Very cool.
It sounds like he's messed with it a lot. I was
Right.
kind of
See,
interested.
that's-
They're not cheap.
I don't know, Steve.
$50 bucks
How
a
much
show.
are those?
That's
Yeah.
maybe $100 worth of junk he has sitting right there, Chuck. That's 3 or 4 sensors, the controller, the gateway module, the WAN interface.
Oh,
I mean, he's got enough to set up 2 complete Meshtastic nodes, and it's, I don't know, maybe a couple $100 worth of stuff.
Well, I
Right,
wouldn't say
right.
Meshtastic yet. These things should Meshtastic, but I don't know, and I don't want to get caught off guard. If they do, we will be doing that
Right.
because I'm interested in Meshtastic.
Yeah,
But
wrong
this is
term.
not the traditional way to
They'll-
get into Meshtastic.
See, what would keep me from messing with this is I'm afraid that out here where I am, there would be no one to LoRa mesh with.
Ham it till it hurts. I'm on 20 right now if you want to try again.
Are you on FT8, Charles?
Yeah, I'm just playing around. I'm testing. I just rebuilt this thing again.
Which thing?
This antenna. Supposedly
antenna we
the
can't
correct way
talk
this
about.
time.
The pre-production thing that we can't discuss?
Correct.
Yeah.
R&D.
I gotta see. I gotta make sure it works first. This one's actually promising.
Chuck,
Ape scolded me earlier.
From a
Go
hypothetical
ahead.
standpoint, if I wanted to create a Poseidon that could handle more than 100 watts.
Of
Do I
what?
just-
100 watts? You mean
Digital.
of digital?
For real,
Didn't
more than 100 watts.
didn't you already do that?
I did, and it hasn't smoked. I
On
had it up to
purpose, kind of on
160
accident?
degrees. I had what? No, me and Abe
Yeah,
were
we're
kinda
gonna
doing it on
actually-
purpose.
I think we're gonna offer that too.
We
I think
think we're
Abe's
going to try
already-
and do a QRO Poseidon.
Yeah, because it works so good for you guys for the FT8 stuff. So
I did some measurements yesterday. I didn't make a video out of this, and Ape and I were tinkering, and Chuck was there. I think Steve was driving.
Yeah.
I think
Saturday
he
or
was
Sunday
on the
whenever
road.
we were doing this. But we ran the Poseidon well past the spec stated limits.
which is 150, 100
To
sideband, 50.
yeah, which is
Digital.
100 sideband and 50 digital, and I was running almost 200 watts digital out of the Poseidon. Now, the core
Oh, I didn't.
was 160 degrees centigrade, which is almost 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was not enough to cook a squirrel, but it was working. That's right, Jeff. If I hang the Poseidon on my tower, this ought to be just aces.
All right, so these guys here, like I was saying before, I would imagine, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this device is already flashed and programmed and ready to roll and would start
Mm-hmm.
broadcasting whatever data it got back from these sensors right out of the gate. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in.
Oh,
And
I got an idea. I got an idea. How accessible is your tiny SA?
it's actually accessible.
And you got an external antenna for it?
Well, it comes with one. Yeah,
Does it go up to 900 megahertz? Is
we're
that the
getting
ultra
there.
or is that the ghetto one?
This is the ghetto one. So this is my Tiny SA Nano VNA kit. Look at that.
That is sexy. That is ham sexy.
Stuff for all stuff. All right, so there's the
I
Tiny
don't-
SA.
But I don't think that goes up to 900, buddy. That only goes up to like 300 or something.
It goes to 9. It's either 960 or 980.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I can't tell.
960. Okay. Yep.
Um,
Plug it in.
so-
Sorry.
Stick an
Did I do
antenna
that?
on it. Set the range up around 915.
all right, so there is that. I'm gonna put it on the high port.
Glenn said we could call the higher power version, Chuck, the Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah.
I like it.
Nice.
The Aussie shoots, he scores with a great one.
All right, so we're gonna plug. Oh, let's turn this thing on and get it configured for the right range first. I think it's actually gonna be. Nope, that's 350. So let's see. Measure. No.
Oops.
Trying to figure out config.
So I've been studying that Chuck. I was reading several articles about it today.
Studying what?
That's
Sorry, you broke up.
I've been reading articles about the Rybakov antenna design.
Oh.
And I was
There's lots of
pondering-
different things on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a ton of articles on it. So I was pondering. I just haven't looked. I haven't looked at them yet. I want to go to Palomar and read some stuff on there. But I'm thinking with a bigger roid and probably a powdered iron one still, with the right characteristics at HF frequencies, you should be able to run a whole lot more power without
Oh yeah.
worrying about
yeah.
melting that 130.
That's a small toroid. It's a 130, so it's smaller than the regular one that we use.
Yeah. The downside
Not
is
Not much.
I don't know that a 240 wouldn't fit on that winder, will it? I guess it will. It'd be close.
We might make a box one for home use.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a
I'm trying to
500
remember.
500 watt Apollo also for home use.
I don't know if this thing needs to be configured
No.
to
it
read
shouldn't
them
be.
the high port, or if it just automatically reads from the high port
Oh.
because I picked a frequency.
I don't know. It may
There it
do
is.
because-
There it is. Switch to high
found it?
in. Got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so there's something at 765 megahertz around here that's minus 40 dB. That's pretty strong.
Can you tighten your range up?
I have it centered at 915. Yeah, let me do that. Frequency
Set your
center
start and stop a lot smaller.
915 megahertz. And span, whoops. Span is, I don't know,
20.
20 megahertz or just 20 kilohertz?
20 megahertz. Let's see what that looks like. Much better.
All right. Now we can plug this thing in. And it should put out a signal. This is actually pretty good. I'm having a lot of fun with this. So I have a blue light on the board, and that's it.
While we're waiting for it might have to just boot up, Steve.
Yeah.
Our very own Smokin' Ape was in QST this month. That is exactly right. There's an article about the ape ham of mystery.
Man of mystery.
And he mentions all of us too, so we're kind of famous because
Nice.
we know ape.
Around here.
So there's some little spikes going on there, but I don't know. There was one that came out that was pretty high and then disappeared.
Okay, that close to the center, I saw a couple that were but they're not staying.
Yeah. See if I can get something under there to get rid of that glare. Or to maximize the glare.
It's close enough either way. The yellow shows up pretty good. That's good. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. All right, is my SD card finished writing?
Chris says he thinks you have to program both sides of it. So.
Okay. I mean, we might actually have to like read an instruction manual or something.
Blueberry says the actual frequency is 902 to 928, but you'll probably have to program it.
Yeah, but we're in that range, so we're good.
Yeah, that's why we did 20 on either side. Yeah.
SD card holder, SD card, and power cord. I'm using a power cord. Where am I going to find power? Oh, so whenever you need Raspberry Pi stuff, you just call on First Aid Kit here. There should be a Raspberry Pi power supply in here. So there's that other argon case I was talking about, the wedge.
Yes. The precious.
And this is pretty sexy because it makes all of the Raspberry Pi connections. There's a special circuit board in the back, inside. It makes all the Raspberry Pi connections come out the back. So these are the standard Raspberry Pi connections here, and then these are the extra ones that are on the side. So audio, USB power in, and then the two HDMI ports. It converts those to full size. And then this bottom piece is thick plastic because I actually have an M2 SSD in here, 256 gig SSD in here that it boots off of. But I came in here to grab a power supply, and that looks like a power supply. So that's my Raspberry Pi First Aid Kit. The Pi is not plugged in and powered on, only the overhead board. Is that what you were trying to say? Like, Jason, why isn't it broadcasting? Because it's not plugged in? What we did was we took the other version of this and plugged it in over USB-C to a USB-C power supply. So we were hoping it was just going to like boot up and start transmitting all on its own.
Well, I mean, even if it doesn't transmit anything meaningful, now I just saw a spike pop up, and it's gone, but there was something that was well above the noise floor there for just a second.
And do I have enough room on my power station below my bench? All Furo, I guess I pronounced that right. Thank you. All right. And we are booting, and we have power. We have lights on here, and we have lights on here. But this thing is a Raspberry Pi, so it's going to have to first go through its expanding of the file system and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And then I got to find it on the network and all kinds of other fun stuff like that. I'm going to plug this antenna into this board before I forget. But it doesn't look like it's really doing much of anything without being programmed. So Jim, if you want to pull up the page on the gateway, what is this board? Oh, it's written in small text I can't read. The red board with all the connectors on it. The node, I think it's called the node board.
Yeah, hang on.
See if we need to program that somehow.
The node board, there she is. Let's share that out. This guy?
Yeah.
The 08H LoRa WAN node board with RP2040 controller.
So I was right. That is a Raspberry Pi 2040 controller built in there.
Let's see. Has a built-in lithium battery charging and discharging circuit.
That's pretty awesome.
And an interface that supports solar panel charging. Oh, okay. Now that's kind of cool.
See you, Ron. Sleep well. Oh, GPS sensor plugged in.
Okay, so there's your connector pinouts. Now we could look at this. So two of those are serial connectors. So you got two analogs, two digitals, an I2C, and a UART. This would be something.
And I just randomly plug this stuff in.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be problematic.
Okay, well, I'm gonna unplug that then.
Yeah, I would do that.
And we're back. Good thing
And
we have two.
you may need to restart it because that may have kept it from booting too. So solar, USB-C, a battery connector, and then it has two boot buttons up here.
You can hook solar to it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
hooks. It has a built-in solar controller and a built-in battery charger.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that would lead me to believe that they sell battery modules.
And there's an external wiki link.
That's what we need. All right, good. So step one, Jim.
Get one now.
Right?
Mm.
Where's my phone?
Okay, let's see. Powered reset. Press this button to reset the system. 2040 boot. Download button. Hold down the boot button and press reset to enter boot firmware download mode. Users can download firmware through the USB interface. RA08 boot. Long press the download button before power on. Connect the USB to serial port module. So that's another programming methodology. Okay, Crowtail A0 and A1. External 5-volt HY-4P-2 port. Sensors or modules that can be used to interface with the 5-volt Crowtail analog signals, which is what we figured. Digital signals, a standard UART, and then an I2C port. And you program this with the Arduino IDE app. So you would have to download that, and then I'm sure you have to install, let's see, file preferences. Then you got to add in the additional boards to add in the board for that.
So it doesn't have code on it to begin with?
I don't know. I'm reading the wiki with you.
Okay.
I mean, that's the first thing they said after we got past the development environment construction. I don't know what they're selling from Elecrow or what they sent you exactly. So that's all the Arduino setup stuff.
Well, it's a good
That's
thing we have a
more.
Raspberry Pi here to run this Arduino code on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a bunch of Arduino stuff. Here's a sample sketch. Connect the Crowtail LED and Crowtail button, which you don't have, to the D3 and D2 port. And then open switch light and yada yada.
Oh, look at that slider switch. And a display.
Linear pot.
Slider.
Nice.
So this is cool because here's a whole lot of samples. These are basically all Arduino sensors, because that's the standard Arduino looking ultrasonic sensor.
I need to have Jim school me a little on this FT8 stuff. I'm having troubles. I'm making contacts, but I'm not completing some of them. I got Cooley
That
right
could
now. I'm
be.
trying to get him.
Which one are you sending him right now, Chuck?
Just the second one.
MI7BJT, welcome, thank you.
The second one. The second.
So you're sending him your call sign and grid square?
No, I already did that.
Read me what that one is.
It has this call sign KK6USY, and it has -18 for him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he's not hearing you. Or he's given up.
So the wiki is all about getting this thing programmed in some sample code, Steve. That's pretty much it.
A LoRa-based security alarm for the RV.
Yeah, just. Well, he saw me, and he, or I guess I guess he saw me. I don't know.
Took one look and left is what he did.
He might have.
I don't doubt it. Frightened him. You frightened him, Chuck.
All right, so one more thing that I have that I can play with is a USB capture card because this thing isn't being seen on my network yet. And it could just be still rebuilding that file system. I don't know.
Yeah, that takes a hot minute.
Well, it's a 64 gig card, and it's not a fast card either. I need
Right.
to get new cards. So let me switch over and see.
I find that keeping up with SD cards is like your socks. I know I wear 2 socks every day, yet when I get the clean laundry, I have an odd
Take that
number
one
of
out.
socks.
That happens all the time. It's like something eats them, either the dryer or the washing
Yep.
machine.
Sometimes I come back with more socks than I submitted for washing.
Whoops.
Were they in there doing the wild thing? I mean,
Well, it's all the ones you lost from the last time.
it could be. It could be. They could be randomly, wildly reproducing too. I don't know.
Cooley, I'm trying again. You're minus 18 to me. So I've been making contacts to minus 18, no problem. Usually.
Now you're using the new antenna,
Yeah.
Chuck? The prototype?
He's using the experimental.
The experimental one. It could be the antenna.
What radio are you pimping there, Charles?
710.
710. I got me a Yaesu today, Chucky.
I heard that. The 1200's it's the little brother of my 3000.
Okay, because I didn't really know where it fell. So is it better than a 991A?
Just below the 3000.
Is it
Well, it's
better
a
than the
different radio.
991A?
It's better than a 450. FT 450, 1200, 3000,
5,000.
5000.
Okay.
I think it's better than the 991A because it's a totally different animal. Is
It's a
it older or newer?
different radio. It's probably a little better. It's a up conversion radio versus my 3000's a down conversion, or vice versa. I think that's the way it goes.
What is the screen? How does the screen compare to the 991?
Billy, I can't get you, man.
How does
Same
the
screen as
compare?
mine.
Is the 3000?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty well. You don't have. I don't think you have a waterfall.
What?
And I didn't have a waterfall originally either. I had to. Well, it may have changed though.
I haven't even opened the box yet. It's sitting in the
Yeah.
den. I came home. She made pork chops, mashed potatoes, and gravy, and I was more interested in that than I was in opening packages.
You're more interested.
Meal
in
Team
food?
6.
Meal Team 6, baby. The
All
gravy.
right, I'm going to start over
seals.
here. Maybe we just had a bad luck here.
Jesse wants to know what band you're on, Chuck.
I'm on 20.
Yeah.
This
Have you tried other bands on that antenna yet?
I have. I was doing it last night and doing really well. I did
One's
30 and I
24.
did 10.
Using our Poseidon since Thursday afternoon last week. This isn't an official number, but I would say easily 500 contacts. I tore up,
And then
I
it's connected.
tore up Europe and South America, even some in all the way down to South Africa, Madagascar, BK,
That's
VL,
pretty good. That's
ZL.
pretty good. Did you make those contacts?
Yeah.
Contacts?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's surprising me how well it's working.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, how critical is it that well, I guess that's going to be your radials, and then you'll have to tune the radials. See, if you could get that up higher
if you
than
lift it?
25 feet.
Yeah, you'd have to tune radios then. And
But how high do I need to worry about before I tune radials?
Once you have to raise the radios off the ground.
I mean, what's off the ground, Chuck? I mean, 8 inches, a foot, or half a wavelength on the lowest band?
Oh, I don't know exactly, but I know if you get it up 10 feet, you probably have to cut them.
Okay.
You just have to cut them. The problem is you have to cut them for each band, so you have to have like
Right.
pairs at least for each band.
Hmm. Well, it's working like gangbusters the way it is.
Hamatil Hurt says he hears me. -5.
Okay, Jim, we have it up and running, and I'm going to cheat. So now I have this plugged in over USB-C to the Raspberry Pi,
Okay.
and I don't know if you can see that light. It doesn't look like it's coming up, but there's a blue light there.
Let me embiggen you. There we go.
Yeah, so you can see a little blue light there. So
Yeah.
it's powered up,
Yeah.
and I removed all the devices because now that we know that these ports are special, this is a serial UART, this is an I2C UART, these two are digital, these two are analog.
Right.
The devices that I
really
have can't necessarily be plugged into any of them.
Right.
Or maybe they can, but we just don't know that yet. So now we've got the naked board plugged into the Raspberry Pi, and we have this guy here. Let's switch back over to this, and let's add that back.
What's the DT thing for?
Oh, that's the time that your machine is off from the network. It's delta time. So what is yours reading on your transmits?
Well,
Or I
just
guess on everybody else's.
Cooley's 0.2 off, it says.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
You're fine.
You have to press the button as you plug it in to get it into debug mode. Which one of the 3 buttons do I push?
That is going to be, let me find that web page again.
All right, Jim, walk me through this.
Oh, Lord, son. It's not really instructions so much. Let's see. So let's share that tab back out right there. So these are your buttons. You have on the right side, that's the 08H boot, and that's the 2040 boot.
RP2040 boot.
Yeah, so it's important that you remember which is which. I think it's marked on the board, it looks like, but
yeah.
Okay, so let's get past the PCB. The 2040 boot, download button. Hold down the boot and press reset to enter boot firmware download mode. Users can download firmware through the USB interface. The 08H boot, long press the download button before power on. Connect the external USB to serial port module, which you don't have. Connect the cables to the external USB. Blah, blah, blah. And update
Chris
the
is talking
firmware
about
of the
MicroPython.
So
Chris, that's more advanced than we are. We might do that, but hopefully this thing it has some pretty good step-by-step instructions.
Okay, so you're going to have to do the 2040 boot. So download button, hold down the boot button and press reset to enter boot firmware download mode. Users can download firmware through the USB interface. Now, I assume they're talking about in the Arduino site, so we need to go get that installed, and you need to install the board and yada, yada, yada.
Yada, yada, yada.
Before we do anything else.
So I need to install the Arduino tools?
Yeah.
All right, so where do I go for that, Jimbo?
GitHub. Arduino.cc/en/software.
All right, let me see if I can connect to this machine over a graphical interface.
Yeah, because you don't want to do this through a CLI. I'm going to close all these other tabs. Probably going to regret that.
Awesome. We have graphical interface. Let me stop that. Present the graphical interface. All right, that is the Pi desktop.
So Chris Bricker said if you install, that's what you were talking about earlier?
MicroPython, yeah.
Yeah, that's out of my wheelhouse. I don't know. And Chris said Arduino is probably already installed.
Let's see.
On the Pi? Maybe so. I don't know.
It's not in the menus. Yeah, it's not in there. In the
And
command
Glenn
line either.
concurs with Chris. You've got 2 people saying it's on there.
All right, so how do I launch it on here?
I don't know. They didn't tell me. Did you try ARD tab a couple
I did.
times?
Yep.
So it's not under programming?
Nope.
Nope. Then Chris said, nope, you got the super vanilla version.
Yeah, keyboard ard, Lebouche ard, Python 3 ard a. Yeah, let's do apt search Arduino. There's a bunch of Arduino stuff. Arduino MK, program from the command line. I like that already. Arduino, there it is, Arduino. All right, so sudo apt update real quick. Isn't tall. I always do that.
I still type apt-get. I can't help myself. My hand just types apt-get.
Well, so Don, I think it was, turned me onto a program called Nala, which is an even newer, shinier version. So apt-get is old, then apt, then Nala.
I've seen Nala. I think I have it installed. I just never type Nala. I type apt-get. I can't help it.
I like apt because apt has a sexier, newer interface. It doesn't seem like it, but until you start running it, like you see this thing at the bottom, the orange text here.
Right.
I don't think you get that with apt. And it's also multi-threaded when it comes to the install. So it'll install like 4 packages at one time if it can. It's pretty smart that way.
Iowa Hank likes Nala.
I'm going to conserve battery life on the Tiny SA by turning it off.
And Kyle is up in 10 minutes.
Cool. So we have a
Are you guys
10-minute
sure? I
hard
don't see
stop.
Kyle.
What, Steve?
I think it's just a 10-minute hard stop.
I don't see Kyle anywhere. I see Communications and Cigars is up.
Well, the song remains the same.
Yeah.
Long Island CW Club practice page with Mike N1CC is what's coming up next on Kyle's channel.
Oh, you found it? Okay.
And if Cooley got you, Chuck, he said he heard you.
I know. We just never could complete the contact. We get to the second or third one, and that was it. I'm just calling again. I saw he broke off, so. I don't know. There's probably
any
something
basketball
I'm doing wrong.
fans out there in Chatland?
Just curious. I'm watching. Was it Iowa?
Iowa can't be playing tonight. The Big Ten's over.
Women's.
Oh, women's. Yeah.
That gal that scored. Oh man,
yeah,
that girl is good. Yeah. I was down in San Diego, and I was like, man, that girl's really, really good. We were at a bar, and watching the game, having dinner, and come to find out she was like the highest score ever in college, I guess.
Yeah, she's broken a ton of records.
Oh,
and she's an OEM female, not a value-added female.
Because this is hilarious. Frank, if you guys have ever seen Frank in person, you can understand why this question is funny. Basketball, what's this you speak of? Frank's about 4'9".
So I got K7TTK. Really quick.
Kevin Jalot, go UConn? No. Jeff, a Kansas fan. Oh. You can see I'm wearing it, boys. The Big Ten champions. Hopefully we'll get past the second round this year.
All right, Jim, look at that.
We have Arduino. Okay. So your next mission after you've got the
Too many.
Arduino installed is go to File Preferences and pop up the Preference Setting interface. And a lot of this that we're walking through, guys, is standard Arduino setup because this IDE, this integrated development environment, will work for a ton of small boards,
Yep.
ESPs, Arduinos, yada, 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 yada. A ton of them. There's 2 or 3 more I'm thinking of. I can't think of the number right now.
Got Mexico.
So he's got to go to Preferences, and then he's going to go to the far right, the Additional Boards Manager.
Okay, there it is.
And you're going to have to type in HTTPS, yada, yada, yada. Let me just copy this and paste this in our private chat, Steve.
Okay.
I don't want to click it. I don't want to download it. I just want to copy the link. Stupid computer. Copy. You want me to put it in the StreamYard chat or our Discord?
No, the private chat. The private StreamYard chat.
Yeah.
And this is right on the wiki page, which is linkable right from the product page, which is linked in the description of the video.
Yep.
All right. So
And
I put
then
that in there.
Then you're going to go add the RP2040 Arduino IDE development environment.
Where do I do that?
You put in the GitHub. I'm reading exactly what it says. Click blah blah, enter GitHub, Earl Philhauer. You did that in the pop-up window and add RP2040 Arduino IDE development environment. So tell it okay.
So I added that link.
Yeah, I haven't done this in a minute. Now go to Tools again. And Board. And my cursor jumped. Hang on. Where did it go? There we go.
It's downloading a bunch of stuff now.
Tools, Board Manager. Enter RP2040, and then you should be able to find it that way.
All right, I have.
And you want to select Raspberry Pi Pico /RP2040.
And,
there you go.
Oops, I moved the button.
I saw it. Yeah, there it is. That guy.
And I have 3.72 is the latest. I guess we'll go with the latest. Install.
Always. Yep. Well, oh, whoa. Oh,
what?
well. It should be noted here that when selecting the development environment version, do not choose the latest one. It is recommended to choose 260.
Okay, well, we'll get 260 after this.
But their instructions show 273, so whatever.
Well, we got 2 minutes left, so we're definitely going to have to come back to this next week.
Well, I was going to say, I think we're at a good point to stop and hit this next week again. This is going to be a multi-show show, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
We've looked at the hardware. I want to do some more reading on this. I'm going to cheat, Steve.
That's why you got demoted to the bottom row.
No, I'm going to buy some. I want some to play with too.
Yeah, so if you guys order these from the links in the description down below, they should be here for next Monday's show, and then we can continue on. Get yourself a Raspberry Pi if you don't already have one. Get the SD card, get the Arduino IDE installed, and then you will be all caught up.
Yep. And I want to point out before we hit the big red button, we have a few of these left in black. I've got one going out tomorrow morning. I also have a sticker pack going out.
Nice.
And we have quite the stock of antennas available. Apollo, our NFED half wave. Aries, our random wire 9-to-1. Mercury, our linked dipole. I keep pointing at the cup, but I don't have antennas to point at. And our newest entry into the stable of car antennas is the Poseidon Vertical. And I'm here to tell you, And I know y'all don't know this, and this could be marketing, but it's the truth. Smoking Ape has been having an antenna-gasm the last 3 or 4 days because the
He
boy
has.
has
We
been
can say that in mixed company.
blowing up FT8, blowing it up. I had to turn my ham
Nice.
alert off because he was annoying the crap out of me. And I have too been blown up FT8 with the Poseidon. I really love it.
Do we
it's
still have
chucking
sticker
apes good
packs on the
work.
website, Jim?
We do. There's probably
Okay.
15 or 20 left.
Awesome.
And
So-
while the official sticker packs have my old sticker, I'm actually installing my new sticker in the sticker pack as we go because I had to update the
man.
stickers.
So
there's Kyle right
goals for this setup here is that we're going to get this thing to work with the sensors that it comes with and transmit from this board and receive to this board. And then we're going to see if we can do some Meshtastic stuff after that. So it'll be a kind of a multi-part series and see how far we can get. This will definitely work with all the stuff that they sent. So stay tuned for next week.
there. Are you in a trailer park?
I'm in a RV park.
RV park?
Yeah. Not a trailer park. Ew. Yeah. I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm in a state park, RV park. Even
A
better.
state park. Cool.
Yep.
Well, you can set it around the state and then see if it can reach each other.
He's in
Yeah,
a
this is a
mobile lifestyle
huge-
park.
Park. All right, folks. Thank you very much for coming by. Links in the description, and we'll play some more next week. Hitting the button there.
Yeah.
I'll see y'all later.
See you, everybody.
Bye, guys.